Welcome back, everyone. This is Bevan with Tried and True EDC. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Null Knives Voodoo. Before jumping to the knife, I just want to give a shout out to them for the packaging. Here's some details about what this is. And it slides right out, and a lot of swag. So, got a business card in here, 3 different stickers. You got your certificate of authenticity. And underneath this foam piece is the cutout for the knife. Very nicely done. Some people look at the packaging as, whatever, right? That's not really why you're buying the knife. But for me, I think it adds a nice touch. And it goes to show it's a representation, reflection of how the company wants to represent themselves. All right, let's talk about the blade. So you can see the Null Knives insignia logos right there. Everything else is sterile. This is a hand rubbed satin. Very nice. The blade shape's reminiscent of a harpoon slash reverse tonto, and it's a little modified because it has kind of a swept tip right there. It's got the thumb studs, which is very unique. You can open it with a flick, you can slow roll it, and you can reverse flick, but I use the fuller to be able to reverse flick it. And works very well. It's on bearings, I'm going to assume, because that's very drop shut. There's no detent ramp, so it does hit the detent ball right there, but it doesn't take much to overcome it. But since it is on bearings, as you depress the lock bar, it will easily drop past the detent. Let's take a look at the handles. So I opted in for the purple Technocarbo, I believe. Let's double check. Purple Technocarbo. Yep, that is the Inlay. They dropped this on Tuesday, April 1st, and they had a few options. They had a teal one, they had a blue, a red carbon fiber, well, Technocarbo, and a copper one. The copper one was $165 more, so I opted it for this. I am from Sacramento, so this is kind of a homage to the Sacramento Kings, the colors. And this one was $460, and it was additional $8 for shipping, so $468. Very nicely done. There aren't any voids that I can see or feel. The transition from the inlay to the titanium right here, very smooth, very well done. Now, this part right here, I can feel a bit of the transition. Everything else is just very smooth. Fit and finish on this thing is remarkable. I really like the backspacer. And from what I recall when I was reading online, I want to say the backspacer and the pocket clip are actually zirconium, as well as the thumb studs right here. I might have to double check my facts, but that's what I recall reading on their website. The pivot screw is only on one side, which probably makes this a captured pivot. This is the frame lock, as you can see. This is almost like what they call, I think, a faux bolster lock, a faux bolster lock. You can see right there. Let's see if it's sharp, shall we? Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Speaking of the zirconium pocket clip, the retention feels slightly stiffer than average. Let's test that out in the pocket. Let me just orient my pair of jeans. There we go. All right. Ooh, nice. Not very much knife sticks out, which is, I think this is just the right amount. Enough for you to grab onto it. Getting the knife in might be a little bit, have a little bit more resistance than extracting it, which is fine. Plenty of real estate left over in your pocket, so it doesn't take up much real estate in the pocket. How about the ergonomics? That's good. I like it. Maybe just a hint of pressure from the pocket clip, but that's not uncommon on folding knives with pocket clips. The jimping's done. It's subtle. You can definitely feel it's there, right? But it won't scratch up, or I won't tear up your thumb. So it's nicely done. I really enjoy the fact how they transition the finger choil into the handle. It's a nice touch. Just don't choke up too far because you will feel the edge right there. But otherwise, that's good. This part's a little sharp though, so if you do choke up and use the finger choil, you're gonna probably feel this portion of the swedge. They could have made that a little bit further down so that way as you're choking up and extend your thumb, you won't hit this portion of the spine. This is the first Null Knives I've handled. I've known about them for a while, just never pulled the trigger on one. But I saw a post on Instagram that caught my attention. Never been aware of the drops, so I did find out about this one. Figured I'd give it a shot. This is manufactured by Riot overseas. It's very nicely done. The finish, I mean, I really don't have, my expectations from Riot is pretty high. They set a high standard for their manufacturing. Let's see, centering might just be a hair off towards the clip side. No blade play. It's about a 45% lockup. Great action. This is the type of drop I like. I don't want a knife that just falls shut on my fingers when I depress the lock bar. This has a good balance. Because of this portion where it transitions to a finger choil, if you depress, the edge won't hit you, or shouldn't. Excited to get this into collection. It's a beautiful piece. Very fitting for someone from Sacramento who also supports the Sacramento Kings. Nice details on the back spacer. I like it. I like it. Yeah, it's nice. Excited to put it to use, get it into rotation. Actually, I wanted to do a size comparison to a couple Spydercos. So we got the PM2 on the bottom and the Military 2 on top. All right, so it is slightly smaller than the PM2 and vastly smaller than the Military 2. Between this and the PM2, you're looking at about half an inch, maybe half an inch to a quarter. Let me know if you got one as well. Which inlay did you opt in for if you did get one? I did like the copper one, but again, that one was noticeably difference in the price, so just opted for this one instead. Yeah, sold out pretty quickly. This one probably within 4 minutes was gone. The blue, I think the copper one and the red one stayed on for quite a few hours actually. So, anywho, really appreciate you tuning in as always, and stay frosty.